Hello and welcome to this Dr. Ross Maths key skill video on factorising quadratics of the form x squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c. This is the last of the videos on factorising three-term quadratics, and this is just a recap of what we've seen in the previous videos, where we're going to have a mixture of positive and negative symbols here. So let's recall how we do this easiest type, where these are both positive here. We need to find two numbers which add to give the number in front of the x and multiply to give this last number here. If I write that bigger. Now remember, we could just think of the various numbers that multiply to give 8, the factor pairs if you like. So we could have 8 times 1, but do they add to give 6? No, 8 plus 1 is not 6. Or it could be 4 and 2. Well, yes, they do add to give 6. And therefore, remember, you have two brackets with x at the start of each of them, because this is in terms of x, and then we use those two numbers. You've got plus 4 plus 2. Either way round, it could be plus 2 plus 4. It's the same thing, because you can multiply these either way round. What about the next one? We've got some negative symbols in here this time. Now, for convenience, I'm going to put a 1 here, because minus 1y is the same as minus y. And now we've more clearly got a number in front of this y. So we need two numbers which add to give negative 1 and multiply to give negative 12. Now, if two numbers multiply to give a negative number, one of them must be positive and one must be negative, because positive times negative is negative. So let's think of the numbers that just multiply to give 12, forgetting about the minus for a second. We could have 12 and 1, but those numbers don't add or subtract in any way to get minus 1, do they? We could have 6 and 2. Again, 6 and 2 don't combine in any way to give minus 1, do they? But what about 3 and 4? Oh, this looks more promising. Because if you had 3 minus 4, that would give you minus 1. Remember, one of these has to be negative. And if you make that one negative, then 3 plus negative 4 would be minus 1. So those are therefore your two brackets. You've got y plus 3 and y minus 4. This is in terms of y this time rather than x, so we've got the y's here rather than x. And then finally we've got this one, x squared minus 11x plus 30. We need two numbers which add to give minus 11 times to give 30. Now, if they multiply to give a positive number, they multiply to give positive 30, then they've both either got to be negative numbers or both positive numbers. Now, they're clearly not both positive, because otherwise they wouldn't add to give a negative number. So they must both be negative numbers. So let's think of the factor pairs of 30. 30 and 1 is not going to work. 15 and 2, do they combine in any way to make minus 11? No, they don't. What about 6 and 5? Oh, that's promising, because if you were to have minus 6 and minus 5, remember they both have to be negative this time to multiply to give a positive number. Then minus 6 plus minus 5 is minus 11, and therefore the two brackets are x minus 6 and x minus 5.